guys, welcome back to another video. I have special guest Tommy Frank Yu here with me, also known as my husband.
That's my full government name.
And today we thought it would be fun to tell the story of how we met, because it's a very interesting, funny story. To give you a little background about myself, I grew up in a very strict Muslim Afghan household. So the expectations were to marry inside the culture and also marry a Muslim. But then I met this guy and the rest is history. So why don't you tell them how we first met?
So we met at work. We worked together actually. I had been with the company that we worked at for a while, and she was a new employee. And I just remember the first time I ever saw her, I just thought, to myself like, hey, this girl's cute, that's really it. But then over like the next couple of months after that, I slid into her DMs. I did. Started talking a little bit, and a couple of months later, I asked her out.
Yeah, so we started dating in March of 2020 was when COVID started, and so I was still in school. My school became online, virtual, and so I worked a lot during that time, and then that's how we just got kind of closer and started texting. And then he asked me out of May of 2020, and at first I didn't know that he was asking me out. I thought he was just being nice and inviting me to Martha's. If you know, you know. But apparently he really liked me.
Well, I mean, if a guy's coming up to you and they're asking you, hey, do you want to get Martha's with me? I just feel like you have to just know, okay, this guy likes me,
I do.
You don't go to a bakery and get cute pastries together just for fun. I thought I made it pretty obvious, but apparently not. But then during our first date, somebody confessed their feelings to me.
No. So our first date ended up being inside of his car, because we couldn't dine in anywhere. We ended up getting takeout from an Italian place, but they forgot the utensils, which we were both very happy about, since we didn't really want to eat in front of each other. And then we ended up taking a walk on the beach, which was very nice, and it was really cold, so he gave me his hoodie.
A hoodie that I still have not gotten back 5 years later.
I may or may not have lost the hoodie. And then...
And she took the food home too. That's the crazy part.
You told me to take the food home.
I always wondered, what did you just
I
come
ate
home?
it.
What did you tell your parents? Hey,
oh.
I just got 2 platters of pasta, enjoy.
I don't know. I think I just brought it home. I don't think anyone would question me.
If I kept it in your room.
But I was basically living a double life, like Hannah Montana style, because since I grew up in such a strict household, I wasn't able to tell them that I had met him. So I had to keep it on the down low, and basically I would make up a lie about going to work. I was actually working a lot, but it was like
she was working 80 hours a week.
Hours a week. I was working 80 hours a week, when realistically I was working 50 hours a week, and then the other time I was there to see him. If you're a Muslim girl and you find someone you like, you know that you can't really go to your parents about it. Well, at least I couldn't. I thought they would kill me. If you told me 5 years ago that I would be married to this guy, I would think you're delusional.
I mean, a month after we first started dating, you did tell me hey, I just want you to know it's not gonna work out. So I remember I asked you, okay, so are you breaking up with me? And you're no. You're we can date, we can be together, but I just gotta let you know this isn't gonna work out. But what did I say to you when you told me that?
I think you said you're gonna marry me one day.
I did, and I said one day you're gonna come downstairs and you're gonna just see me and your dad sharing some tea together.
Which became reality. So fast forward to June June of 2023.
No.
Oh, 2022.
Was when like your parents found out.
Okay.
Well, that was the second time they found out. Your mom actually caught on like
My
a
mom
couple
is
of months
very intuitive, very observant, so she did catch on and told me to break up with him, which I told her that I would, but then I didn't.
Crazy.
So sorry if my mom is watching. And then fast forward to June of 2022 is when my mom invaded my privacy. I won't say how, but she basically found out again that I was still seeing him.
I mean, that day was low-key crazy.
It was very hectic. I was literally traumatized. I thought my parents would kill me. Maybe I was being dramatic by thinking that because of how they actually reacted. But like, I guess I was just so fearful growing up that like that fear stuck with me. And I thought like I was going to die. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. I just thought I was gonna get in real big trouble. And then I had told him like I'm gonna run away. Like you have to pick me up. I'm running away.
So she lives like a good like at the time you called me it was like midday traffic. You lived a good like 50 minutes away. And I just remember like you telling me like, oh, my mom found out. Like, you gotta come pick me up. Like we gotta run away. And I just remember coming. And like I drove by like your parents' house at that time, and I look, and you're just down the street with like a little Target bag filled up with like sweaters.
Was it that far bag?
Oh, that's a far bag. Sorry. It was just filled with sweaters though, like nothing else, just sweaters. And yeah, it was pretty funny, because then after I like picked you up, I think your parents like called you back, and then like I basically just circled in the neighborhood for like the whole day that day till like nighttime.
I think he was there just in case I needed to go on the run. I think at the time I was being very dramatic. I think my strong feelings for him like overpowered anything, and I was ready to like burn bridges over it, but I'm happy that I didn't have to. In the end, surprisingly, my dad was the one who was like, okay, fine, show me a picture, let's set up a meeting. And obviously he wanted to convert in the first place. So my dad was very happy about that. I think at the end of the day, what my dad cares about is marrying someone Muslim, which I care about too. So he was very elated that...
I did end up taking Shahada later that year.
Maybe like a week later.
Yeah, like a week later. But I mean, like also at the time, like I had met one of your brothers already, so like he was also kind of like vouching for me. Like I think I hung out with him like 2-3 times by then. Like
yeah, he had met my brother beforehand, and he approved. They got on very well, and then it took some time for my mom to warm up to the idea. So she was more into the cultural aspect of me marrying an Afghan man. So it did take her a while to warm up, but now we're here to today. My parents are very close now to Tony.
I mean, also, well, we can talk a little bit about like exactly what went down like after your parents found out, and like what happened like after that. So basically, like after her parents found out, like it was a pretty big thing. Like I think like your dad had like called your aunts over, and like a lot of people were involved. Like a lot of her cousins were involved. Like everyone was involved. It was like a really, really big thing. But eventually your dad did kind of like come around, or at least he was like open to like saying like, okay, like let's just like meet the guy. Well, actually, you want to tell them how your parents tried to bribe you? They said that you could have a nice summer in Turkey, meet some other guys. Yeah,
they tried to bribe me with a trip to Turkey so that I can meet other men, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was funny, but I said no, thank you. Basically, it was just a lot of back and forth, like them basically saying, how do you know he's the one? Like, how do you know he's gonna take care of you? Like, how do you know you're not gonna end up divorced? Like, usually, like, if you stick with the same, like, culture, like, it's less likely to end up in divorce, which is not true. So that's where their concerns came from, and also just like language barrier.
And just like getting on with like my family and like being able to communicate. So like that was definitely like a big thing.
Yeah.
But so when your dad finally came around, I think it was literally like a week later, your parents invited me over to meet them, and I just remember like the day of, like I was so terrified. It was on a Saturday. I remember I woke up that morning. I went to the gym. I was like running like 5 miles on the treadmill. I'm like, oh, I gotta like show up looking athletic, show up looking like fine, you know, good looking. And I remember texting him like, oh, like what should I bring? And you're like, bring German chocolates. I'm like, what the heck are German chocolates?
I don't know.
Apparently they're
like
just
German chocolate.
apparently they're just chocolate from what, Aldi that your parents like?
Yeah.
Aldi, like Aldi chocolates.
The German brand.
No, it's Lint. No.
Lint.
I don't know
Oh yeah, I
chocolate.
think it was.
Lindo? I don't know chocolate
Lint.
like that. But yeah, I remember picking up some chocolates, picking up some flowers, and then I showed up at one of your aunt's house. They hosted the meeting at one of your aunt's house, and I just remember walking into that room, and like just imagine like me, I'm by myself. I'm walking into the room, and it's just her. She's sitting on the side, like on a side couch, like literally like crumbled up, like she's like, oh, like not trying to make eye contact with me. I remember walking in and I had to shake her hand. I'm like, hey, how are you?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I shook her hand.
I was
shook
just
her
avoiding
hand.
eye contact.
I literally shook her
It was
hand.
literally a room full of my entire family and
And
then
then me.
just him. So it was probably so intimidating.
Yeah, I just remember like literally walking in and like doing like at least like a 2-3 minute walk around the entire room, just saying salam to like everyone. Like that's how many people were there. Like it took like a good like 3, maybe even like 5 minutes to say like just hi to everyone. And then finally like I sat down next to your parents, and then I think your dad started the conversation. Your dad basically just asked me like, so like, what are your intentions? But I won't get into the exact details of what was said, but yeah, I mean like honestly the turnout was pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I was nervous, but like all I remember was like it went from like that tense like environment, and like 2 hours later we were watching like soccer on the TV.
We ended up scheduling our nikah for literally like 1 week later, which was definitely fast, but I think we were both
Like we were ready. I
we
think
were ready.
like we were like seeing each other, and we were like you know, we were seeing each other for a little bit then, and like in the back of my mind, like in the back of her mind too, I'm sure like we kind of knew like alright, like you know, like this is a serious relationship, and like we
This
had
is
a
the
lot
one.
of love for each other, and like you know.
So it was 1 week later. We had our nikah, and on that day, I had a really big exam in the morning. So I just remember that day was very stressful. But I managed to pass that exam, get married, and
I mean, that was it. I mean,
that was it.
like I said, like you said too, like even after like we got our nikah done, like I think it still took your mom like some time to like come around, and like you know
It's definitely a culture shock, and my family especially, since it's definitely something very brand new to marry someone outside of the culture. So it was a culture shock, which is understandable. But I definitely think it really opened up their minds to like, you know, just like open up their minds to different cultures, different people. You don't necessarily have to marry someone who is the exact same as you in order to be happy. You can be happy with anyone.
But ever since we got married, I will say I've been introduced to a lot of good food. You guys know Afghan food, Afghan rice especially, is the best rice out there. And that's coming from a Chinese guy that eats rice for a living. But Afghan rice, top tier. And what's the other thing I like?
Mantu?
No, I like mantu. You guys like mantu or oshak, right? That's like always the biggest debate. I'm a mantu guy.
Mantu.
Mantu 100%. I mean, I hope that like you guys watching this video, if you guys are maybe like in a relationship with somebody that your parents might not necessarily approve, whether it's, has to do with like culture or religion or just, anything. Um, it's, because I know that like she had like the rough end of the stick. Like her parents were definitely the ones that are a lot more like strict and a lot more like culture based. But also from my side, I just have my mom, and for her it was definitely like a change and like something she had to adapt to as well. Because I'm sure like in the back of her head, she wanted like a nice little like Chinese girl that she can like speak to. Because my mom doesn't speak English too well. But like fast forward to now, we're in 2025. Like everything is good. Like our families get along great. Like we're here together today to share our story. So yeah.
Yeah, everything worked out. Like I said at the beginning, I really thought that it was never going to happen. Like I thought like, no, it's never gonna happen. Like I'm just, yeah, he did. I think in the back of my mind, like I really wanted it to work out, so that's why I kept seeing you. And I think like worst case, I would have ran away with you.
Got it like that.
Well, I'm just happy that everyone is getting along. And if you're in an interracial couple with strict parents, don't give up hope. Yeah. Seriously.
Me and her dad were like this. Me and her brothers were like this.
When I say my parents were strict, like they were strict. Like I was not even allowed to look at boys, let alone like date one. So that was the story of how I met this man. Let us know if you want us to make any more videos about our experience and our relationship, like how our wedding ended up, how we planned it, how we kind of incorporated like my culture, his culture in it.
Today we've been married for a year and a half now. We're happy together, our families are happy together. But I hope you guys gained something, not just entertainment from our video. And let us know down below. Let us know if you guys have any questions or maybe you guys have any of your own experiences. We would love to read about it. I think it's a beautiful thing having two different cultures come together and just appreciating one another and just sharing that together. So yeah, we really hope you guys liked the video, and please comment down below if you guys have any questions, maybe any topics you guys want us to talk about in future videos. Yeah.
Yes, and please subscribe if you want any more content from us, or what would you like to see from us, please.
Okay.
Alright,
Bye.
bye. Thanks for watching.